All right. We're a little bit after 6 o'clock, 6:03. Let's go ahead and call village board to order. Please stand for the allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think everyone for their attendance and its minutes to reflect the role of the various trustees and staff. Let's move on to item 3, entertain a motion for the approval of the 117 village board and to file the 1020 park and rec board, 1122 joint library board, 1123 plan commission, 12:8 architectural review board, and the 12:20 finance committee meeting minutes as presented.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, as always, comments, questions, clarifications on the minutes.
Yes, on the village board meetings, I'm present and excused.
Which one do you want?
Excused.
Is that a statement or a question?
You did
Okay.
good.
I have
All
one.
right. Yes, Lisa.
On page 3, the village board minutes from January 17th at the top, wanting to clarify the administrative assistant 2 position. And with all that clarification, the pay grade was listed incorrectly as 12, and that's a pay grade 11 for that new position, I think. The administrative assistant in community development.
There's no change, so whatever it is now.
Yep, there was no change to the pay grade.
So it's 11, but it's listed as 12 in the minutes.
Okay,
So that's what I wanted to clarify.
thank you.
Okay, any other corrections? All right, motion and second with those corrections, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Anybody in the audience on a non-agenda item? Move forward to item 5, any information has been distributed in the normal fashion. Let's move on to item 6, resolutions, ordinance, action items. Item A is a refund of property taxes to accommodate a contested valuation in manufacturing area?
Correct.
Okay, Paul, you want to take it there or what?
As you know, manufacturing is done by the state of Wisconsin, not done by the local assessor. KDOW, which owns the 2100 Washington, which is the old leasing building, filed with the state Department of Revenue in 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 for excessive assessment. They were denied 15 through 20. This year, or 2021, last year, the state accepted and came to an agreement with KDOW on adjusting the assessments for 2015 to 2020. So that was done last year. We don't have to act on it until we get a request from KDOW, which we received last week. I'm requesting to go through board approval. That way then we can charge back a request through the Department of Revenue, a request to charge back the other tax districts for their share of these refunded taxes. But since we are the tax collector, we have to refund 100% of it up front.
Okay. So it's really a directive from the state, and we're just doing our part of this. Any
Correct.
questions? Yes.
So I was hearing the state pays us at 95,000 back, and then
We pay the 94,000. And then I will apply for, make a request to the state to charge back MATC, the county, and the Grafton School District, their share of these taxes. They'll let us know late fall if it's been approved or not. I'm assuming it will be, since they're the ones that made the adjustment. Roughly 32 to 34,000 is probably going to be retained with the village, so we'll have to expense that. The remainder will be paid back to the village by the other tax districts, if approved.
Thank you.
Any questions?
So the other entities are obligated to make that payment or refund that money.
If the state approves our request to charge back the refund.
Other questions? I entertain that motion to approve refunded 20 as stated. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Let's move on to item B for the plan commission. Item 1 is a motion to recommend village board amend chapter 20 sign ordinance section 20.14 related to multiple tenant commercial building signs be approved.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. This is just an item that Jessica kind of brought before the plan commission to address changing needs of our different businesses as far as signage goes. Anything you to add, Jessica? Any questions for Jessica? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 2 is a motion recommending the village board approve an amendment to the PUD at Mill Square at 1218 12th Avenue be approved.
I'll make the motion. Or I'll second.
Okay, the motion is second again for those, just to kind of recap, this is the upper level of the building in the Mill Square that has to accommodate 4 units of kind of like overnight type housing.
Airbnb rental, short-term rentals.
Questions for Jessica?
Jessica, a question. Can you explain to me, that I saw somewhere in there that they were limited to 180 days of occupation through the year. Is that per unit or for the entire?
It'll be per unit.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, that regulation, you have to remember that our regulations for short-term rentals are intended to cover residential neighborhoods mostly. And so that limit on the number of days of rental is supposed to minimize impacts to surrounding property owners. So this obviously it still applies to them, but there's less of an issue here because it's in a commercial area.
Okay,
So I won't be out there counting number of days.
all right. Thank you very much.
okay, other questions? Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Move on to item C, report of Park and Rec. Item 1 is a motion to purchase the replacement of the slide pump strainer, spare strainer, basket, butterfly valve with gear operator, installation, startup, operating training with funds from the Park and Open Space Fund be approved.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second for those who have read the minutes. It looked like there was some entertaining discussion that went on at Park and Rec. Does anybody have any questions regarding what's going on or is this project? Yes.
Chad, did you get information on the warranty?
The warranty is for 1 year, parts and labor. For up to 1 year.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So, I am a little unsure about the motion as it sits without the cost within the motion. So can we add the cost, which is $11,621 plus shipping? Because I worry that, I mean, we can see this information in our packets by reviewing what happened in Park and Rec, but the citizens cannot see and cannot,
Sure. Oh,
it's not
absolutely.
transparent to them.
No, that's absolutely the board's purview. If you wish to amend the motion, this is the recommendation coming out of committee. The actual action by the village board, that is your purview, should you wish to.
631 and
621 plus shipping.
21, was it even?
Yeah, yes, I believe so.
What would be?
Sorry, can you repeat that amount?
$11,621 plus shipping.
And the people who made the motion and the second, okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so then we'll just amend that motion to, for a total of $11,621 plus shipping.
Perfect.
Okay, motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item D is no action. Let's move on to item 7, Department and Officers Report.
Certainly, want to start off with a couple of legislative items that staff is watching quite closely and has an update on. Assembly Bill 874 was introduced to establish a process that would involve the state and federal governments to allow local EMS systems to obtain additional Medicaid reimbursement payments. As you recall, our fire department, being established as a special revenue fund, relies heavily upon those revenues based upon their calls for service. Some of those calls for service are, for lack of a better term, discounted, as in there's a fixed rate paid by Medicaid, Medicare, regardless of what the services rendered are. This Assembly Bill would help increase those revenues by adding or supplementing those Medicaid reimbursement payments. It has just been introduced. It is being considered, so we will watch this very closely, as it definitely plays a significant role with how our fire department realizes certain revenues. At the federal level, there's the infrastructure bill that is out there and being discussed. Later this week, staff will be participating in a webinar to find out more and what our options are here in Grafton. Being a federal program, this could be wide-ranging or various scopes that may be eligible. And so we want to get smart on the topic as quickly as we can. So staff will be monitoring that and participating in that webinar. Lastly, you may have seen recent news coverage regarding the ARPA funding and the regulations associated with that. There has been a Treasury rule set forth that actually provides additional flexibility under the lost revenue category. As you recall, there's lost revenue, there's infrastructure category as part of ARPA funding, and that lost revenue category, there seems to be additional flexibility there. We are continuing to gather information on this, and we will be planning a committee of the whole meeting to discuss not only where the legislature is, what the Treasury rules are that apply, but also to discuss the pending projects and establish those priorities for the ARPA funded projects. Then shifting gears here to daily operations for us, a really neat event at the library currently going on. They have art from the entire K-12 realm of students through the school district on display throughout the library. So I urge everyone to stop in and see those displays. Absentee voting is underway here at Village Hall. As you recall, we do have a February primary for the Cedarburg School District. So there's only a small portion of our electorate that is impacted by this. And to give you an idea, this opened up, in-person absentee opened up last week, Tuesday. And as of this afternoon, we have had a total of 7 people stop in at Village Hall to vote. So needless to say, very small, very condensed election, but nonetheless, quite a bit of work for the clerk's office to make sure we're tracking and setting up appropriately. So that is underway. Last but not least, speaking of the clerk's office, we are working together as we look towards this transition to a paperless packet. It was quite honestly almost forced upon us a couple of weeks ago when our paper vendor, longtime paper vendor, just stopped responding and backed out. We were down to a single case of paper in this building. We have since secured another vendor. We do have paper. That said, we need to make it a priority, being the clerk and I, to set forth how to proceed and set the protocols for that paperless packet. I want to say thank you to Trustee DeLorde for being the test pilot of paperless packets, has given some initial feedback on thoughts and information that he's received electronically and how it displays things we need to work on, being the clerk's office and I, to make sure it's an easy a transition as possible for you, the elected officials, to get paperless packets. So that said, that's kind of a front burner item or project right now. And that is what I have for an update this evening.
Jesse, on the 2022 annual program budget, so we received the yellow copies, which were the updated changes. But
Okay.
it's my understanding there was still some tweaking after that. Are we going to get finalized papers?
We are actually finalizing that document for submittal to GFOA for the award. And with that, that creates that final copy that we'd be able to distribute. Yep.
Okay, so then the board will get those.
Yep, that'll be
Okay.
forthcoming.
Okay, and then I have another question. Did we ever have further discussion on what the preferred newspaper is going to be?
We have not. The clerk's office and I can bring that to the finance committee to review, where we're at and how it got to be that way and what options may be.
Okay. And then the employee engagement survey, how often do we do this?
That was a brand new tool I rolled out last year. I had received some just very broad general statements and feedback, and I really wanted to get some focused and structured feedback from our workforce. So I rolled that out as a management tool.
And then will this be an annual thing?
I am going to look to engage the workforce on an annual basis. Yes, will it be that specific format? I don't know yet, but I definitely do believe it is in our best interest as an organization and a management team that we do look to engage more regularly with the workforce.
And will the village board be able to weigh in on these comments?
This is really a management tool. It's not a policy tool. This is really is between administration and staff.
That is the intent. It is looking for the management team to gain feedback from our staff members on how we can improve as an organization. Now, should there be something that reaches to the level of being a policy decision, absolutely, that policy decision will be brought to the village board. Yep.
Sure, Dan.
Yeah, just a quick question on, I did see a report in the Zaki Press regarding, the county fire, issue. Is there anything further that we may need to know about that other than maybe reading it in the paper?
Right now, Chief Rice and a couple of folks from the working group, so as not to overwhelm the conversation, did have a meeting Friday with the sheriff, and there's no formal update at this point. At such time, we have some additional direction that will be provided.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any update on when or if we'll be talking anymore about the possible special assessments on Riverbend Road with those utility extensions? I think we were thinking about talking about it about a month ago, and it was tabled.
Which one?
Riverbend Road utility extensions, special assessments.
Right.
We tabled it.
We did. We've got to get proper notification out to those residents, and without having a DPW administrative assistant for a short period,
Okay,
it's been put on the table, but it's on the top of our to-do list to get back.
okay, so it'll come back. That's okay.
Yeah.
And then I did see something that you talked about at Park and Rec about the Grafton Little League possibly coming to the parks
Mhm.
for summer baseball.
Yep.
Is that going to affect the senior baseball?
That would be a scheduling matter. Chad, okay, good. We do have Director Hoyer here. That really would come down to scheduling. There are existing leagues there that we would not look to bump, but I know Chad could speak in greater detail to it.
Yeah, I've spoken with Little League and we're in the process of putting something together that wouldn't impact the existing programming that's already. So we are in the process of working through that. Little League right now is we've kind of settled on the night of Wednesday. Will be kind of a Little League night at Centennial Park. They've also looked for some practice time for both diamonds as well. And it's kind of just set at Wednesdays. Tuesday might be a possibility as well, when they might get some time there. Because the existing softball night that we did have on Tuesdays, I think has folded and has not, at this time, we've reached out to them to see if they're looking to come back, but at this time, we don't have a formal answer. Hopefully by the end of this month, I will know for sure. And then Little League possibly will be scheduling some practice times on Tuesdays as well. But the game night will be like Wednesday. So there could be like a 5 and a 7 o'clock game there on Wednesdays.
So we'll be utilizing those fields more often. And I think that'll be great with, I'm assuming sometime soon, when the weather gets warm, the scoreboard will be replaced and that will all be turned over.
I'm in the process of working through the scoreboard right now,
Okay.
with getting some quotes and trying to figure
Great.
out installations.
Okay, thank you.
Questions? Yes.
And Chad, on the scoreboard, right now we have sponsored Grafton Lions. Are you gonna try and reach out to them
I
if they
have
want
not
to
reached
use?
out to the Lions yet to see if they,
They're right there.
oh. Are you asking for the sign to remain underneath? it,
Oh,
or if they're
I think
looking for somebody-
sponsorship as far, they should get first crack. I know at the high school, Meyer and Acuity are very involved with
I
signage.
have not reached out to the Lions for donation for replacement.
Well, we can. Yeah, good idea. Anything else? All right, let's move forward. We don't have any licenses for approval, so let's move on to report of the bills. Entertain a motion for approval of expenditures of $348,942.82.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion is second. The usual complement of questions and answers have gone back and forth. Anything further?
I said something, but I didn't get any responses. First one was on, under the page 2 of trustees 1 packet, the Axley Byron Nelson landfill plant, part lot landfill.
Mhm. That is the legal firm we are working with. They helped us long ago with the initial legalities regarding the lime kiln environmental issues and the West Plume. So thankfully, that attorney is still on staff, and so we have retained their services to help us with the further DNR regulations and navigating the creation of a mitigation plan on how to move it. So that's that expense.
And then on page 8, the janitor of Milwaukee, the $28 police department traffic premium. Is that the whole building? Is that a monthly fee? Is that a quarterly fee?
That is strictly for the police department. I believe that is the entire building. And that is a carpet cleaning. That would be a one-time expense.
So they want to do the thing.
Yeah.
Did you not catch those questions that you can make, or?
I
sent them early this morning or last night.
did not see it in my email.
I sent one too. I haven't checked the email.
Okay.
You wanna do that? That's fine, it's up to you.
I was just, my question had to do with legacy recycling. You know, they pick up all the electronic equipment and people that drop TVs and other electronics off,
Yes.
they pay 25 or whatever fee for that.
Right.
So the question is, so how much, is that just like a minor subsidy, or does that cover a lot of the expense? It was $802 with your last figure.
We haven't raised the fees for a number of years, and it was actually on our to-do list to kind of look at where we ended last year and see if the fees we're charging are still covering. The intent in the past was we charged an amount that fully covered, so it was a wash. But we do need to reevaluate that and see where we're at.
Okay, well, I'm interested and curious.
I did get that email. That was in the response back this afternoon. Paul noted that residents are charged for the recycling fee and therefore the cost is offset. Again, we may have to revisit that though, as that may be a historical offset and making sure we do still in fact fully offset that cost. Yep.
Last year. How did we do?
Sure.
Thank you.
I have a question. Are those fees listed on the website? How do people know what the charges are?
I do believe they are listed on our
They are,
website.
okay.
Yep.
Anything else? Yes, Lisa?
Page 1 of everything, the complete office of Wisconsin, and I see that there's the annual paper order for different departments. And there's, I don't know, 10 different entries, I think, and it totals about $2,100. Is that for the whole year, or is, so you just order right up front?
Yeah, we do a bulk order for the entire year.
And if you run out, you reorder.
Yeah, if you run out, you just order a box or two, whatever you need.
So I was surprised because some of the areas I thought would be higher are lower, and then I see the police department has $799 in paper. That just seemed like a lot to me off the top of my head when I'm thinking about Village Hall, and we get our papers from the clerk's office. And that was, I think, about $470. So in looking at reevaluating the paperless packet, this was one of the things that went into it. And was the other portion of it, Jesse, the staff time?
Yes.
As I recall, it was about a wash.
Yep. Yes. The
$800.
trying to recall the ROI report that I put together did take into account staff time. However, we did not necessarily place a value on it because that we're still paying for that time. So my time in helping to generate a packet, you're still paying my time, whether I'm generating the packet or doing some other activity. So I did not include that as an offset. It's just a ancillary benefit in that, like the clerk's time, instead of prepping packets, there would be less involved with that. They could focus more on elections or licensing or what have you. So it wasn't, it was more of an ancillary benefit as far as staff time goes. With regards to that paper charge by the police department, I would wager an assumption here that because of the paperwork involved with court cases and evidence tracking and what have you, I believe that is why the documentation they have to submit to different agencies and what have you would drive that number. But again, that's an assumption on my part. I would have to verify with chief.
I can ask tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you have public safety now.
Thank you.
All right, motion in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Item 10, entertain a motion to convene the closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 1985(1)(c), consideration of performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, necessary administrative review, and negotiation of the purchasing of public properties, the investment of public funds, or conducting other specific public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. This is the intergovernmental agreement on the Cedarburg. Okay, motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second.
All right.
Aye.
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 We are in closed session.